Hello everyone. I'm not going to talk too much about what I actually do because that's pretty boring, but I'm going to try and impart some of the things that I've learned in doing that. So, it doesn't matter what problem you're working on at Interchange. Today I wanted to share with you what I think are the three most essential principles that you'll need if you want to take your idea to the next step and start to build a successful social enterprise. These three things are things that I've learned on my own experience, through my own experience, and also through speaking to numerous social entrepreneurs both in Australia and around the world. And while they at first may seem quite basic, without a doubt, everyone that I know that's successful and everyone that I've read about have these three things in common. And they're what I call the 3 C's. But before we get into that, I thought I'd just go through kind of my journey today since I was around your age, and I thought I'd use this kind of illustration here. So it kind of feels like just yesterday I was studying at uni, probably because I did quite a bit of study. I did a Masters of Development Studies, a Graduate Diploma in Project Management, and a Bachelor of Commerce. The last few years I've been trying to put that education to good use, working with non-for-profits and NGOs in Australia, the US and India. While I was living in Cambodia as an Australian Youth Ambassador for Development, I founded Promise or Pay, which is a web-based platform that helps people achieve their personal goals by putting their money on the line for charity. And it's while working on Promise or Pay over the last few years that I've realised that there's a major problem holding back the potential of Australian social entrepreneurship as a catalyst for widespread and transformative social change. And that problem is that right now it's difficult, distracting and time-consuming for social entrepreneurs to find the resources and support that they need. And in fact, this is cited as the #1 challenge faced by social entrepreneurs in Australia. So in response, I founded Social Change Central, which is Australia's first online opportunities portal for social enterprise. So every day I get to help aspiring social change agents like you find the support that they need to turn their ideas for social change into real social impact. So, that's all the boring stuff. So, 3 things. The first thing that I want to touch on is courage. Being a social entrepreneur means that you have to be willing to jump in the deep end, and that requires courage. The good news is that everyone has the capacity to be courageous. I learned this through personal experience. When I was young, I was absolutely petrified of public speaking. My mum, she still teases me how my legs used to visibly shake together when I used to have to do show and tell in front of my primary school class. And while I eventually got over the leg shaking, I was still found public speaking just an absolutely traumatic experience. Whether it was doing a uni tutorial presentation in front of 18 people or speaking at my cousin's wedding in front of 180 family and friends, I just hated public speaking. I'm sure this may sound familiar, or maybe you're all just super confident. Just thoughts would just swirl around my head over and over. What if I stuff up? What if people ask me a question I don't know? What if I forget what I was going to say? What if I just vomit halfway through a sentence? It wasn't until I started Promise or Pay and had to start pitching it did I realise that with the right preparation, a lot of preparation, the public speaking didn't have to be such a horrible experience. As a social entrepreneur, you need to be able to communicate what it is you actually do. You need to be able to talk about the problem that you're solving and why you're solving it. You need to be able to explain your solution. You need to be able to describe the market opportunity and how you're going to make money. And of course, you need to be able to illustrate your social impact. Promise or Pay forced me to do all of this over and over and over and over again in front of lots and lots and lots of people. And it's through preparation and practice, a lot of preparation and a lot of practice, is that I now find, more or less, the chance to raise awareness about social entrepreneurship quite exciting, whether it's pitching Promise or Pay or Social Change Central or just talking at an event like this here today. It's still not easy at all, but I find that I'm more worried about the what if and feelings of regret than I am about just totally bombing on stage. For me, true courage isn't about being fearless. Like, I'm pretty damn nervous standing up here and talking in front of all of you. But for me, it's about taking action and proceeding despite all those feelings of uncertainty and being afraid. I think courage is a choice, and because it's a choice, it's available to all of us. Ultimately, each of you here are responsible for your own future. And what that future looks like is very much dependent, especially if you want to be a social entrepreneur, on whether you choose to be courageous when it comes to doing things that make you feel uncomfortable. Nobody succeeds in a silo. If I've learned anything from my journey today, it's that the partners that we choose can ultimately make or break a venture, whether it's a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a life partner, a team member, a co-founder, an advisor, or an investor. So the second of the 3 C's is counsel, which I define as advice and guidance. I'll start with finding an excellent mentor. The renewed rise in popularity of entrepreneurship has seen a resurgence in the mentor-mentee relationship, but it's something that's been going on for centuries. Socrates had Plato, Robin had Batman, Michael Ross has Harvey Specter. When it comes to my startup, my mentors and advisory board play an instrumental role in keeping me grounded, giving me direction, and just making sure that I'm accountable and have some perspective. As seasoned businessmen and women, they've experienced it all, from raising capital to building company culture to co-founder disputes, and it's this experience that they can impart on me that helps guide me through the elaborate and sometimes very confusing and frustrating journey that is entrepreneurship. So find yourself a mentor, which I think you'll just found, so well done. What I've also found is being surrounded by like-minded people helps me stay inspired and just helps me maintain my mental health. So here's a list of just some of the professional and peer networking groups that I'm involved in and which I highly recommend that you check out. Connecting and networking with other people that are also passionate about social change has benefited me in more ways than I probably even know, whether it's just bouncing ideas off or introductions to investors or mentors. So today, if you take nothing away from this, just be courageous and, look from when I arrived like you're already doing this, but speak to people you don't know, make friends because you really have no idea where those relationships can take you. I think that as a founder or co-founder, which you all are, I think there's a tendency to think that our grit and our hard work and our dedication is enough to drive the success of our social enterprises. But they can really only take you so far, and that's why good counsel is absolutely crucial. As they say, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's the people around us that ultimately determine our success or failure. So your job is to find the right companions at each stage of your entrepreneurial journey. The final C is capital. Finding funding as a social entrepreneur is one of the biggest challenges. You can have what you think is the greatest idea in the world, but without the money to get it started, all you've got is a great idea. Your options get kind of thin when your business is focused on social impact over maximizing profits. And the problem is that for the moment, although things are changing, many traditional investors see social impact as a financial loss, and therefore it's a lousy investment decision. To make things even more difficult, Many foundations and grant-making bodies are limited to funding organisations with charitable status. But it's not all doom and gloom. From competitions to crowdfunding, there's still a range of ways that you can find the money, basically, that you need to start and grow a successful social enterprise, and I've listed just some of them here. Shameless plug, if you are looking for funding, once you get to that stage, I highly recommend you sign up to Social Change Central, where you can find the latest and greatest funding opportunities for social change. Being a social entrepreneur is very hard. But if you're excited about the idea of building a viable business and changing lives at the same time, then I highly, highly recommend and encourage you to give it a go. Just make sure that you have the courage to risk failing, the counsel to point you in the right direction, and the capital to experiment and grow. Thank you.